As a teenager in the California Bay Area in the 70s, Lloyd Moseby was not aware of the Blue Jays. Then when he was drafted second overall by Toronto in June 1978, his world turned upside down. His baseball heroes, the Oakland A's, had won 3 straight World Series, 1972–74. The Giants had Bobby Bonds, Willie Mays and others. His MLB dreams included those 2 teams, and the Yankees. But the Blue Jays? Nah. Retired Blue Jays outfielder Lloyd Moseby tears up as he talks about his mother during his acceptance speech at the induction ceremony for the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, ONT. This past weekend, Jeff Robins, the Canadian press, his outlook turned around due to 2 simple, human gestures in the first 3 months with the Jays. It was 2 of his new bosses Moseby fondly remembers as making the difference, leading him 40 years later to this hallowed place in Rural Street. Mary's, ONT. As an inductee into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, they made me feel a part of something special and emotional, Moseby said on Saturday prior to his induction. It's just been a tremendous journey. My girlfriend lives in London, Ontario. I spend most of my time there. I live on Queen's Quay in Toronto. I tell people all the time, I'm Canadian, in heart. A Canadian not in a passport, but in heart. We're really simple people. We're not trying to do anything that's extraordinary because it's an extraordinary country. We already know that. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. The first Jays influencer, who continues to be a friend and mentor, was current President Emeritus Paul Beeston, the original Jays employee who was there outside the tent on the weekend to watch his friend Moseby be inducted. Article continued below. When I went to Toronto, right after signing, Mr. Beeston gave my mom $5,000 cash to go shopping. Moseby said, I fell in love with the guy. Remember, my mom had never touched, ever, $1,000 in cash. So, it's been a love affair. It's been a huge respect for people that they loved me first. I didn't love them. They loved me first because they showed respect to my family. It could have been because of baseball, yes. But it's now evolved into something great. Beeston recalled the '78 moment with Moseby's mom and smiled. Yeah, it was Canadian, though, he said with his usual self-deprecating humor. After that, when the contract was signed, Moseby left home and traveled to the Jays minor league camp at the Dumpy Engelbert complex in Dunedin. It was Moseby's first time away from home and he needed emotional help. I was so homesick, Moseby admitted. Jays minor league executive John McLaren let me talk in his office, talk to my mom every day. I'm happy Johnny's not coming to the induction, because I would fall apart if I'd seen him, because he took a chance. He wasn't supposed to do that. I just told John, I've got to talk to my mother, man. I miss my mother, 'cause I'd never left home. I never left my mother, so it was a huge deal. And so going to Engelbert and having John McLaren in the complex made me feel good. I didn't know anybody else. I was a hotshot type of guy, but John McLaren always kept me down. He kept me rooted and he became my coach in the big leagues, the third base coach. I can say players made the difference, but I'd be lying. It was John McLaren who was my comfort zone. Moseby has a special place in his heart reserved for Bobby Cox, who took over as manager as the Jays made their move toward excellence, and for Cito Gaston, who was his batting coach and outfield instructor as the best American League outfield of the '80s, one that also included Jesse Barfield and George Bell, began to emerge. Cito has been a huge, massive influence, the 58-year-old said. Cito is a kind guy. He doesn't come through the front door all the time. Sometimes you can lose a guy. He would come through the back door. He would allow you to fail, then he would ask you, "What do you think about this?" Article continued below. I had some stances that were not very good and I was kind of a hard-headed kid. But he came through the back door. When he came over, that's when my talent really came up, because he simplified what I needed to do. Also, he was my outfield coach and so he developed me full circle. Others that were inducted on Saturday included former Expos Cy Young winner Pedro Martinez and iconic Canadian baseball historian William Humber. Receiving the Jack Graney Award, handed out annually for a lifetime of contribution to Canadian baseball, was the late Allison Gordon, the first woman beat reporter in MLB history, after she was appointed to cover the Jays in 1979 for the Star, and the first female member of the Baseball Writers Association, BBWAA. Her brother Charles accepted for Allison, delivering an emotional speech. The hated shift Major League Baseball, according to industry sources, has approached the union about potential changes to the way the game is played to create more action, more excitement, more of a return to the way the game was played before analytics broke it down into mind-numbing predictability. One of the major changes favored by Commissioner Rob Manfred and many in baseball is limiting the defensive shift that has created a game where traditionalists look at a batted ball up the middle or through the second base hole into right field and anticipate a base hit only to see a fielder positioned to make the play. Good hitters, especially left-handers, are being asked to bunt to empty spaces, and they call that smart baseball. Computers spit out data and coaching staffs react within the rules to create a game that does not play out the same as it did just 10 years ago. On Sunday, Kendrys Morales had 2 infield hits. That's crazy. Earlier this month, John Axford worked his way through 2/3 of an inning, throwing 27 pitches in 12 minutes, with just 1 ball put into play. Let's bring back baseball skills and get rid of the shift. One simple solution for the shift is to draw in a short white line on the outfield grass behind second base out towards center field. You have the pitcher and the catcher in place, then make a rule that only a maximum of 4 of the other 7 defensive players can be on the same side of the line, extended. Griff's top 10 all-time Jays outfielders: 1. George Bell 2. Jose Bautista 3. Lloyd Moseby 4. Jesse Barfield 5. Vernon Wells 6. Joe Carter 7. Devin White 8. Sean Green 9. Shannon Stewart 10. Jose Cruz Jr. Editor's note: this story has been updated from a previously published version to clarify it was Charles Gordon who accepted the Jack Graney Award on behalf of Allison.